Coming up on the Sports Desk, South, Northwest, and Bishop all still alive in the girls' basketball playoffs, but with the later rounds of CIF play either kryptonite. Plus, the Bishop Montgomery Knights boys basketball team has kept their foot on the gas for months now. As they continue through the playoffs, find out if they could keep it up against Orange Lutheran in the Open Division semis. And the West Warriors boys soccer team has been having a season to remember. Did the boys over at West finally hit a roadblock in a matchup against Lawndale? Meanwhile, one of the biggest names in UFC came to Torrance. Find out what she was doing for her big bout at Staples Center. And as always, we'll get you caught up on all scores, highlights, and updates in Torrance's prep sports scene. The Sports Desk starts right now. Let's go! How's it going, Torrance? Welcome to the new Sports Desk scene. I'm your new host, Collin Kushner. Remember, that's at Collin Kushner using the hashtag #TheSportsDesk. It's getting deep into basketball postseason play, and it's at the point where you win or you go home. And for the boys, only one Torrance team is left. And it's no surprise that it's the Bishop Montgomery Knights. I mean, Bishop hasn't lost a game since December. A big win in the CIF Open Division quarterfinals over Del Rey League rivals Cathedral has landed the Knights into the semis against Orange Lutheran in a neutral matchup. So to Hope International University in Fullerton, we go. Bishop Montgomery taking on Orange Lutheran. There's STJ giving out some high fives early on. Let's pick it up in the first quarter. STJ drives in. That's going to go. He makes it look so easy. That's his first points of the game. Then STJ to David Singleton for three. Boom sauce. The freshman just getting warmed up. Let's pick it up in the second now. Bishop up 18-14. STJ with steal and the easy lay-in. Thompson Jr. would have 18 in this one. Later in the second, David Singleton for Trey. He's got it. The Knights with a 29-20 lead at the end of the first half. Third quarter, Singleton again. He's going to hit the three-pointer. Knights up by 16. Into the fourth, STJ. He's going to dish to Singleton. Boom sauce. The Knights go on to oust Orange Lutheran 69-47. David Singleton has 19 points in this one. So the Knights win their 21st straight game and a trip to the CIF Open Division Finals, setting up a match against the winner of the modern-day Eddie Wanda game. Stephen Thompson Jr. has 18 points, but the big story was freshman David Singleton, who buries 4 three-pointers and leads the Knights in scoring on this night with 19. Bishop now just one win away from capturing the Open Division Southern Section title. Meanwhile, over to the girls, the Lady Knights also having plenty of success this playoff season. The girls breezed through the quarterfinals with a 69-40 win over 29 Palms. Now in the semifinals, they had a tough match in a Harvard-Westlake squad that is averaging just over 67 points per game in the playoffs. This one coming down to the final ticks of play. The Knights up 61-59 with about 10 seconds to go. And on the ensuing inbounds play, Harvard-Westlake's Jayla Rufus Milner, what a name, gets teed up. Bishop's Christine Delapina converts the technical foul free throws, pushing the lead to 4. A few seconds later, a late basket by the Wolverines' Jordan Brown cuts the Knights' lead back down to 2, but without any timeouts left, the clock runs out and Bishop hangs on to win 63-61. The Knights make the CIF Southern Section Division IV AA Finals for the second straight year, setting up another matchup against J. Sarah Catholic, a team who the Knights beat last year 46-43. Meanwhile, the North Saxons girls basketball team has been the most dominant team in the Pioneer League this year. Winners of 4 straight, the Saxons looking to continue their dominance and reach the CIF semis for the second straight year. So to the North Gym we go. North taking on Esperanza. There's Coach Kamiyama giving her team a little pep talk beforehand. Let's pick it up in the second. North up. Brittany McPherson with the miss, but Sheridan Matali with the putback. North up 26-2. Same quarter, Matali gonna dribble down, and she's just gonna take this herself with a nice easy J. North up by 27 points. Later in the second, Megan Takata gonna pull up for 3. Boom sauce. Takata showing some range. North up by 28 at the end of the first half. Third quarter, North still up big. Kylie Oshiro for three now. She's got it. North up 51-17 at the end of the third. To the fourth, McKenna Inamoto for three. North just feeling it from long range. The Saxons go on to win 66-26. North just absolutely demolishes the Aztecs by 40 points. It's the sixth time this season that the Saxons blow out an opponent by 40-plus points. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Now, North moves on to the semifinals for the second straight season in a matchup against CDM. So now let's head back to the North gym. Megan Takata making her entrance, giving some high fives out. North looking to get over their semifinals woes against CDM. Let's pick it up in the first. Kylie Oshiro from downtown got it, showing off that inner Tim Duncan. North up by 6 early. Later in the first, the Saxons up by 8. Riley Camilla nails the three. The Saxons up by 14 at the end of the first. Now to the second, Matali to Megan Takata, who makes a nice little move. Let's roll replay on that. Takata does a little oop-de-doop, and she gets that to go. North up 31-13 at the end of the first half. To the fourth, McPherson with the miss. Sheridan Matali going to pick this off, and she's going to pass this to Daleen Tuali. You'll hear more from Matali in just a sec. Later in the fourth, Matali with the steal, and she's going to take this herself. Winner, winner, chicken parm dinner. North goes on to win 56-26 over CDM. Let's hear what Coach had to say after the game.
I think it's a combination of being in the big moment last year with the crowd that we had at West was a huge experience for us. We're young this year just like we were last year. We have a lot of returners from last year's team, so I don't think the moment was too big like it was last year, and I think West being in our league this year helped us out a lot.
What about going forward? What did you tell these girls, obviously you have the finals coming up, what did you tell them, going forward?
At the beginning of the season, before our first game, the kids made a goal as a team where each person had to be buying into the goal. So I tell them all the time, it's not my goal, it's just my job to help them reach their goal, and their goal was to win the championship. We're halfway there, at least we're in the finals, so the kids are excited. It's just my job to keep them focused and come up with a good game plan.
So North advances to the Southern Section Division III AA Finals, setting up a nice dinner date with El Dorado. No garlic bread, I don't think, on that one. So far this postseason, no teams have been a good match for the Saxons. North blowing out opponents left and right, averaging just over 62 points per game in the playoffs, and their average margin of victory, just a cool 34-plus points. North advances to the CIF Finals for the third time in program history, the first since 2002. If North wins, they'll capture their first ever CIF championship crown. Meanwhile, down south, the Spartans sharing similar success like the Knights and Saxons. South has been on a tear since losing their regular season finale to North just a few weeks ago. They blew by Yarupa Hills by 22 points, and the same would go for the Spartans in their second round match with Mayfair. South blows by the Monsoon by a whopping 40 points, 86-46. And then in the quarterfinals, not as big of a victory, but the Spartans come away with another double-digit win over Patriot. South finally breaks through and avenges that loss to Patriot last year in the quarterfinals. Coach Imamura and co. averaging just over 70 points per game in the playoffs and only allowing about 46 points per contest. In the first round, South only allowed 47 points. In the second round, 46. And in the quarterfinal game, just 45. It's been a 1-point decline each game for the Spartans' opponents. So South setting up an evening of fun against Hart. To continue their trend, they'll look to hold the Indians to just 44 points. Heading west, as you probably know by now, girls basketball right here in Torrance has been extremely dominant this year. The only team that didn't represent the city in the playoffs this season was the Torrance Tartars. And while South, North, and Bishop all moving forward in their respective brackets, it would be interesting to see if the West Warriors could follow suit. West crushes Valencia 71-36. That's Coach Caparaso and co.'s fifth straight win. And in the quarterfinals, West downs Newbury Park by 27 points, setting up a semifinals date with Burroughs. The Warriors killing it both offensively and defensively. West averaging about 72 points per game and allowing just over 37 points per contest in the playoffs. Since the Warriors' last loss, which was to North back in early February, they have put up at least 60 points in each game since. That wraps up all of your prep news from the hardwood. When we come back, we'll take you to the pitch where the West Warriors boys soccer team tries to keep their season alive. Stay right where you are.
Hey, this job looks perfect. It says you need people skills.
Check.
Driver's license.
Check.
And a high school diploma. You've got one of those, right?
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
I got that.
You are good to go.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Mom.
In your new role, we help you help. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for information on how to provide even better care for the person who once took care of you.
Welcome back, everyone. Hit me up on Twitter, that's at Collin Kushner, and use the hashtag #TheSportsDesk. So the Warriors over at West having a pretty good season. Before the year began, they left the Bay League and joined up with the other Torrance schools in the Pioneer League, where they went a perfect 10-0. They haven't lost a game since December and are 11-0-3 during that stretch. They have 7 shutout victories this season. I think you get the point. The Warriors have lost in the second round of the playoffs the last 2 seasons and look to right the ship this year against Lawndale. Reporter Kiana Martin has more for you.
Pioneer League champs West High are hosting the Ocean League champs Lawndale High in the second round CIF playoffs. Both teams with impeccable records are matching up on this field to see who moves on in the playoffs.
Finishing off a perfect 10-0 league season, the West High boys soccer team prepares to take on Lawndale High in the second round of CIF Championships playoff game. After tremendous defense on both sides of the ball, the game remained scoreless until almost 70 minutes in the game. In the 68th minute, Lawndale's Irvin Miranda scored the first goal of the game from 20 yards out, but West refused to leave the score unanswered. In the final minutes of the second half, West's Mason Shortland tied up the match off of a free kick, tying the game 1-1, going into overtime. After a back-and-forth battle following regulation and double overtime, the tied-up game was left in the hands of penalty kicks. After 6 rounds of penalty kicks, Lawndale's goalie stopped Zach McGraw's kick, giving Lawndale the chance to win. In the 7th frame of shootouts, Oswaldo Garcia from Lawndale buried the kick into the goal, missing goalie Denver Silverlake, clinching the win for Lawndale 6-5.
It was a very intense game. We knew it was going to be hard. We saw that they beat Gundo, which they're a big rival, as they're the Daily Breeze top 1. Unfortunately, it just didn't turn out the way we wanted to.
We have a tremendous group of young men that they gave it their all season long, and they did again today. And we ran into a team that was very motivated also. So it was a tough loss. We obviously wanted to do more than this, but I can't fault the effort of our players.
These standout Warriors were top-seeded in their CIF division and ranked 22nd in the state, according to Max Preps. And despite this season-ending defeat, their season-long accomplishments outweigh their final shortfall.
Obviously, we're very disappointed with the loss, but when we look back, we'll recognize it as something that was a very great accomplishment for our guys.
Just going to keep working hard in the off-season, go to the club, just keep doing my thing, and hopefully everyone just keeps working as hard as well. We have a big bang next season as well.
Ending with a perfect season in their first year in a new league, the Warriors left an aggressive mark on the Pioneer League, with plans of returning next year better than ever. From Torrance, I'm Kiana Martin, reporting from the Sports Desk.
Thanks for that, Kiana. With the West loss, that means all 5 Torrance high schools are officially out of the playoff picture for the boys. Meanwhile, over to the West girls, Jessica Murphy's squad winners of 3 straight after that 4-2 second-round win over Lancaster. With the boys out, all eyes on the West girls looking to continue their success in the quarterfinals against Pacifica. In the first half, Megan McComas scores off a free kick, and then Allison Chang adds the insurance goal off a pass from Zoe Anderson to seal the victory for West. Oh, and let's not forget about keeper Ruth Soto, who records 5 saves for her 13th shutty of the season. West blanks Pacifica 2-0, advancing to the CIF semifinals for the 2nd straight season. Last year, the Warriors reached the Division II semis under former coach Jim San Martin when they lost to Hart 1-0. West's win sets up a date in the semis with Brea Olinda. Now for the Torrance Tartars, they would look to follow in the path of West and join their Pioneer League rivals as the only 2 Torrance schools still standing in the girls' soccer playoffs. So Torrance looking to get past Warren at home and advance to the quarterfinals for the 3rd straight year. To Zamperini Stadium we go. Torrance taking on Warren in the Division III second round. There's Coach John Martin giving his team a little halftime pep talk. Let's pick it up in the second half, 0-0. Riley Stahl with the cross, and Alicia Sloss one-times that one home. That makes it 1-0 Tartars lead. A few minutes later, the Tartars with the throw-in, and yeah, that's going to go in the net. That's not allowed. Torrance still up 1-0. And later in the second, Annika Rodriguez with the penalty kick, and boom sauce, she finds Twine. The Tartars don't look back. They go on to win 2-0. So the Tartars advance to the quarterfinals for the 3rd straight year, but the good vibes wouldn't last very long. Torrance falls into quarterfinals for the 3rd straight year. Haley Noble scores a lone goal for Torrance, who only trailed by 1 goal at the end of the first half. In the second, the Cypress offense comes alive and nets 4 straight goals, ousting the Tartars from the playoffs. The 5-1 loss to Cypress is the biggest loss of the season for the Tartars. When we come back, we're going to take you to the Octagon where one UFC female athlete you may have heard of came to Torrance before her big fight. Stay right where you are.
Don't let E. coli mosh with your food. An estimated 3,000 Americans die from a foodborne illness each year. You can't see these microbes, but they might be there. So always separate raw meat from vegetables. Keep your family safe at foodsafety.gov.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Okay, so we drowned the fire, stirred it, drowned it again, and now just feel if it's cold.
Yeah.
Cool.
Smokey just gave me a bear hug.
I know. I already posted it.
Welcome back. Torrance High School recently hosted their 8th annual Louis Zamperini track meet, which took place at Zamperini Stadium. The meet was named after the hometown hero 8 years ago, honoring the World War II veteran, Olympian, humanitarian, and of course, a standout track star at Torrance High School. The first race of the day was the Zamperini 5,000-meter race for the boys and girls. This is the same exact distance Louis ran in the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin. All Torrance High track athletes participating wore throwback uniforms similar to the one Louis wore when he ran track for Torrance High in the 1930s. Grandson Clay Zamperini was also in attendance to run a symbolic 4-man mile relay in memory of his grandfather. Clay took the last leg of the relay carrying the same Olympic torch his grandfather ran with leading up to the Summer Olympics in LA in '84. Grandson Clay shared his thoughts on the event and the everlasting impact his grandfather had on the city and people of Torrance.
The greatest thing about coming down here and being like a part of the Torrance community is seeing how many people had, personal memories with my grandfather. How many people stop me and go, "Oh, hey, yeah, I met Louis down here," or his brother taught my son how to run, or his brother taught me how to run. It kind of shows me how involved Louis was in Torrance, that the majority of people I've talked to have personal experiences with him.
And time to totally switch gears. Local fans of mixed martial arts were treated to a visit from the sport's most recognizable name and face recently. By now, everybody knows the name, or should know the name, Ronda Rousey, or at least have heard of how good she is in the octagon. What you might not know is that 2 years ago, when she first brought women into the Ultimate Fighting Championship, she made a stop in Torrance to kick off the biggest fight of her life. She recently returned to the South Bay to talk about what she has done for her sport and female athletes everywhere. Juan Hernandez has that story for you.
The last time Ronda Rousey came to Torrance, California, she was about to make history. It was an open workout before UFC 157. Just a year before, UFC President Dana White had publicly declared no woman would ever appear in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Now, she was about to headline a main event.
The reception a little different this time than it was 2 years ago?
There's a little bit more people.
A few more people, indeed. In a world where just about every sport is dominated by men, with fewer opportunities for women to thrive, high school, college, and professional, Ronda Rousey is an outlier. No woman had ever headlined a UFC pay-per-view event before Ronda Rousey. She's headlined 3 in the past 2 years. The last of which packed almost 18,000 people into the Staples Center for UFC 184 just 3 days after this workout. In 2014, she was the only MMA athlete, male or female, on Forbes magazine's 30 Under 30 sports list. She was the first UFC female champion 2 years ago. Now, more than 50 women make up 2 divisions in the UFC.
I think it's great that women being on the forefront of the MMA community is becoming normal.
I look up to her style, the path that she's made for all of us to be where we are today, and I just see it as this awesome opportunity, and I'm really just grateful for her. I'm grateful for everything she's done, and other than that, it's about me.
Does it change the intensity at all, having all these people sitting here watching you?
A little bit, I'm someone that would trip and fall on my face while everyone's looking, so I don't know, it's cool. I feel appreciated, and I appreciate that.
This is why fans line up by the dozens, hundreds even, just for a chance to see the best do what she does best.
I feel like anybody who's seen her do an armbar on anybody, and then you see it on TV, and then you see her actually in your presence, it's absolutely crazy.
Is it surreal?
Crazy, yeah, super surreal.
We're not going through the motions, we're really training, and people like to see you being genuine.
Does that motivate you, knowing that you're that big of a deal now in this sport?
When I was no kind of a deal or a big deal, I was just as motivated day one as I am now. There was no amping up and there is no toning down. This is just the way I am.
So it's fair to ask if fans, young and old, are showing up simply to watch a world-class athlete at the top of her game, or if they're here to be a part of history. Ronda Rousey has accomplished a lot in those last 2 years since her first visit to Torrance. 5 fights, 5 wins, just 7 minutes and 23 seconds combined fight time. She's that good. Just over 40 years after Title IX, a woman is the most dominant athlete in at least one male-dominated sport. So, how much more history will be written between now and the next time Ronda Rousey visits Torrance?
Thanks for that, Brosif. So as we all know by now, Rousey wasted no time in the octagon with Kat Zingano, getting her in an armbar and not letting go in UFC 184. The fight lasted longer than my UFC career would be if I ever stepped in the octagon. Just 14 seconds in length. Looks like coming to Torrance before big fights might be the good luck charm for Ronda Rousey after all. Meanwhile, over in the JUCO sports scene, the El Camino College girls basketball program has created a lot of buzz in the JUCO world this season. The Lady Warriors captured their first conference title since 2005. They didn't lose a game in conference play, and for the first time since 2006, Elko reached the playoffs. The number 7 ranked Warriors, taking on Pasadena City College in the second round. Elko split the season series with the Lancers, looking to avenge that OT loss back in January. Elko was out big for most of this game, but the Lancers claw their way back and tie this one up with just seconds to go, sending the game into OT. In the extra period, Elko outscores Pasadena City 9-2 to seal the victory, 71-64. Nia Bass leads the way with 21 points, and Chanteline Trudeau adds 13 for the dub. So that's the Lady Warriors' first playoff win since 2005 season. And to add to the list of accomplishments, head coach Steve Shaw was named the SEC South Coach of the Year. Also being honored was Chanteline Trudeau, who captured the Co-Player of the Year award, splitting with Long Beach City's Darshana Tafua. The men's basketball season may be over, but some of their players also collecting South Coast Conference honors. Derek Twiggs was named to the first team, while Chris Munoz, Kane Wildermuth, and brother Malik Wildermuth earned honorable mention. That wraps up all of your JUCO news from Elko. As a new host of the show, I decided to try something new. Each month here in the Sports Desk, we'll have a top 5 plays of that month. If a sweet play happens at a game we can't make, hit me up on Twitter with video during the month of March, and it'll make the show. That's at Collin Kushner using the hashtag #TheSportsDesk. So without further ado, here are your top 5 plays from January and February. Number 5, Torrance's Akusha Modanlo gonna miss the free throw. West Christian Jackson, channeling his inner Louis Zamperini Jackson, gets down the court in about 6 seconds. Pretty impressive if you ask me. Number 4, Kimmy Butland for the West Warriors with the cross. Zoe Anderson with the header, and Caitlin Fragulia finishes the playoff. Looks like they're having a nice celebratory moment after that. Let's take another look. Butland to Anderson to Fragulia. Boom sauce. West goes on to shut out Claremont in that game. Number 3, Sheridan Matali for North. She's going to dribble up, give it to Megan Takata, who does a little oop-de-doo. And Takata gets that one to go. And let's take another look in slow-mo. I don't know how she does that. She could teach me a few things on the court. North beats down CDM in that one. Number 2, West, Kent Hirano on the break. North's Eric Baker, get out of my house. Eric Baker with the emphatic swat. Let's take another look. Hirano thinking he has the basket, but Baker says no. Play number 1. Who else? Steven Thompson Jr. He's going to drive, easy lay-in, and the foul. Thompson Jr. passes Eric Craven as Bishop's all-time leading scorer on that one. Congrats to you, Steven Thompson Jr. I want to hear from you all, so hit me up on Twitter with your top play nominee from the 5 just shown. Remember, that's at Collin Kushner using the hashtag #TheSportsDesk, and we will post your votes right here on the show. Big props to at Bishop Montgomery Letterman on sending us some cool video and pics from the boys CIF match against Cathedral. Coach Doug Mitchell showing the students section some love after the game. The game was held at Monrovia High School in a neutral site duel of 2 of the powers of the Del Rey League, and students in the hashtag Gauntlet came out to support. And here's a pic, thanks again to at Bishop Montgomery Letterman on the group, getting jacked up beforehand. All right, everybody, that's going to close the books on another week here on the Sports Desk. As always, we are available on Facebook. That's facebook.com/thesportsdesktv. Or if you'd like to email the show with any story ideas, it's thesportsdesk@torranceca.gov. Also, feel free to hit us up on Twitter with pics, video, or anything sports related here in the South Bay. What you send may make the show, so that's at Collin Kushner, and use the hashtag #TheSportsDesk. And we are also on Instagram now, so that's TheSportsDeskTV. And don't forget, if you just feel like saying hi, you can do that as well. All right, Torrance, you stay classy. We'll catch you next time.